Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Carissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. Not everyone experiences crystal energy the same way. Not everyone experiences a big reaction when they first start out with crystals. Not everyone is in tune with their own energy, and this can cause people to struggle in how they can make strides in their crystal healing practice. In this episode, we're going to break down how you can sense energy of crystals, as well as how you can discern where to use those crystals in your practice. Let's start by acknowledging that we live in a world that likes a lot of black and white, binary, definitive information and answers. This is in part due to our brains and the need to be efficient and conserve energy. It will search out features in order to categorize them so that it can sort through the vast amount of information that we experience each and every day. It is normal for us to be skeptical of sensing energy from crystals or within our bodies when we don't understand what it is we're seeing or feeling, and also when there is limited science to explain it. And that's one of the reasons I love Max Planck and his research that has shaped how we understand quantum theory today. His research revolved around two ideas. The first, that matter emits or absorbs energy. Second, that a body can emit or absorb energy. Now, it's important to know that Max Planck was working on the atomic and subatomic level. But knowing that our bodies are made of matter, we can then assume that we emit and absorb energy. And since crystals are also made of matter, they too can emit and absorb energy. Now, while we may not be able to feel a single atom, when enough accumulate, we then get into the space that we can see, feel, and touch them. And just like the story about the princess and the pea, some people will never feel a single pea under a tower of mattresses, while others will feel the smallest thing. It all depends on how sensitive we are to the stimuli. And this perfectly sums up the first thing I see when people are starting out in their practice and they're trying to develop their skills. And the first one is believing that everyone senses energy in the same way. This belief has led to so many arguments in my household, especially when it's something that one of us is more attuned to than the other. Full disclosure, it's me. I'm the one who has a much lower threshold for sounds, taste, feels, etc., and find myself getting so frustrated when Hubs just doesn't see, hear, or experience the things that I do. Usually it takes him quite a while and much more of the stimuli to be on the same page that I'm on. That said, when it comes to sensing and feeling the energy of crystals, it isn't necessarily one specific way. It can be anything from a tingle, a buzz, some warmth, some coolness, a spark, or even a knowing or an emotion that it gets stirred up in our physical body. There's no one way to experience energy, and there's no one way that crystals come across as a whole. So you may feel different crystals in different ways. And in a previous episode, we talked about qualia. And so the important thing I want you to take away is that we need to give ourselves a little space and a little grace to figure out how we resonate with the energy of crystals and how we experience the energy inside our bodies or on our bodies. So the next thing people say to me is that they don't think they have the ability or that they can develop the ability to sense energy. And like I said, crystal energy isn't always a big and explosive experience for everyone. So if this is you and you've come to believe that you just don't have the ability to sense energy, let me offer that doesn't have to be true. There are so many ways that you can learn or hone your skills at sensing energy. It's just a matter of exploring and playing and figuring out which way you receive energy so that you can sense it. And like I said a minute ago, your way of sensing energy can shift from crystal to crystal, practice to practice. And that could also be leading to why it feels so elusive or why you feel like you can't. And the third and final one, which is when you're not trusting your initial experience or sense. And so what happens as empaths and HSPs is that there are a number of reasons why we do this. It could be that we're trying to avoid conflict with others, or we have a desire to not be misunderstood by the people around us. And it could also be that we just aren't fully confident in what we're experiencing and our ability to communicate it in a way that others will understand. And so then we look for other ways to explain what went on. And that is when we start explaining away our experience with logic and reasoning. So let's have some confidence in expressing what we've experienced, because over time it's the accumulated experience, and when you look back at it, that you'll finally understand what's going on. So next, I want to cover how to sense and discern energy, because once you've selected a crystal and you're ready to follow your intuition, and you're thinking, well, what do I do with it, right? And yes, we talked about the chakras as a jumping off point, but you know what? Sometimes you want to do something a little more personalized or a little more specific. So what are the ways you can discern energy or sense energy in your body, and where you may want to apply the use of crystal healing? I'm going to share my 3 favorite ways to sense energy within your body. And the first one is using your mind. And this practice, called a body scan, can be done anytime, but it's easiest to do when you are in a quiet spot where you can close your eyes, relax, and breathe. The purpose of a body scan is to direct your focus so you can notice any sensations within your body, any subtle things that might be going on. Things like where you're uncomfortable or where you're stiff or where you're in pain, or even where you've had pain in the past and now you're feeling good, right? A body scan practice can help you feel more connected to your physical and emotional self. It can facilitate relaxation, and it can also aid in releasing of tension. So this practice is really great as a standalone, as well as for implementing your crystal healing practice. The second way you can discern energy for using your crystals is by using your hands. Our hands are our most powerful tool when we are working with energy and crystals. Our hands have multiple meridians and nadis. These terms are from acupuncture and yogic medicine, and they are the ways in which our etheric energy travels through our body. And additionally, there are 17,000 touch receptors and free nerve endings in the palms of our hand alone. Combine those things together, It means that our hands are very powerful receivers, readers, and senders of energy. So to use your hands to discern energy, you can just hover your hand over a part of your body and just notice the sensations. Again, tingles, buzzes, warmth, cold, all of it. And it's quite simple, but they take practice, right? Doing a body scan, doing a hand scan, it takes practice. Which is why for beginners, I love this next one. It was the one that I used religiously. I still use it to this day. And that is using a pendulum. A pendulum is a simple tool that you can use for detecting energy and blockages in your body. A pendulum can be a pretty crystal that's on the end of a chain. It can be as simple as a bolt or something heavy tied to the end of a string, or as common as a needle on a thread. And because a pendulum is a physical, tangible, visible extension of intuitive insight, it can provide the empath and HSP woman a way to express and receive guidance in a concrete and visible way. They are perfect for the individual who maybe hasn't completely deciphered how they sense and read energy. And because it is visible and outside of themselves, it just gives them a little more comfort when they're reading energy. And a benefit of using a pendulum is that you don't always need the physical body present to discern the energy you're reading. And this will become important when you're doing a distance healing or when you have a mobility issue that is preventing you from being able to reach the place that you're trying to assess. So let's say you have something in your shin or your lower legs and you just don't have the flexibility to bend over for that kind of a hand assessment. So pendulums are great, especially for someone who's just starting out. There's no rule about which practice you use for sensing and discerning energy, but whichever method you choose, ensure that you have a clear and repeatable way to ensure that you have a connection with the tool. Meaning, practice using the tool so that you understand how that tool communicates information to you. And so last for today, I want to share what I call a party trick that you can use on yourself if you're doubting your ability to sense energy, or you can use it with any of the doubters that you come across in your day-to-day lives who just don't believe that crystals can emit energy or that they can receive energy. So I would love for you to grab a clear quartz point and hold it in your dominant hand, right? The hand you write with. And then with your other hand, you'll want to hold the point of the crystal facing the palm and keep it roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch away from the hand. And then with your eyes closed, I want you to then start moving the crystal in any pattern that you want. And for those of us who have spent more time playing with crystals, it might be a pretty immediate sensation. For those who haven't used crystals or are skeptical, give them a little time to just experience. But what most people have said to me is that they feel like there's maybe some pressure or like somebody is pulling a thread that's coming from the palm of their hand, or they feel a coolness, or like somebody's taking the tip of a pencil and just drawing on the palm of their hand. And I have yet to meet a person who has not been affected by this party trick. So by all means, go and try the party trick with yourself, with your naysayers, and anyone around you who is wanting to understand how they can discern and sense energy. That wraps it up for today, and today's episode has been brought to you by Clear Quartz and Max Planck. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self-Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.